Back here at the 2018 Major League Baseball winter meetings, Kevin McAlpin along with Kyle Sielaff from the Miami Marlins Radio Network, and our coverage all week brought to you by Georgia Natural Gas. Now, we're going to be talking a lot about the home team, but we're also going to be looking around the National League East, and Kyle, certainly a guy who's plugged in with the Marlins. And before we talk about the topic at hand here at the winter meetings, Derek Jeter, been in charge for a year now. Your thoughts on the new boss and sort of the new culture he's trying to bring to South Florida?
So I would say the first thing that people always talk about, and the first thing that I tell people is he played under the brightest lights in New York City for 2 decades. He's not here to make money, he's here to win. You know, it's been his mentality. He played all of, like 3 or 4 games of his entire career out of postseason contention. He wants to win. He's here to be a winner. With that being said, they have a plan. They're not going to diverge from it. They are going to build this thing up. They're going to build it the right way. They're not trying to how do you want to put it, like put men on the moon. There's a lot of teams trying to do something similar. Build it from within with a lot of prospects and see where that takes you. I would say after 1 year, they put themselves on at least a path or a track to be successful in multiple years down the road.
And part of that has been sort of rebranding the entire organization to South Florida.
Yeah.
How do you think the fans in Miami are going to take to the culture they're trying to create down there?
I think they're going to like it because I think whatever you want to think about prior ownership, I think this ownership group wanted to make it a point to put their own stamp on this thing. And I don't think they're necessarily trying to completely get rid of history. They're still going to do the retro type days. They're still going to bring the pinstripes out once in a while. But I think this ownership group, first and foremost, invest a lot of money into the thing, and they have all the right in the world to do whatever they want. They're going to put their stamp on it. And I think there's a sense of, if you want to move forward, let's start fresh.
Right.
And a lot of people wanted the pinstripe, so that would be something that you would think, early 2000s.
Sure.
You wanted to get rid of, things from the last decade. So let's start fresh. There's a little bit of old, a little bit of new, a lot of culture, a lot of diversity in the logo and the new branding. So I think a lot of people are looking forward to it.
Part of that history is removing some history with the home run sculpture going.
Right.
What else are you hearing? What else do you think the fans in Miami might be expecting come 2019?
So they've made it very. They've made it a point for the fan experience. They are, and you've been to Marlins Park. They are gutting out the entire Marlins Park, the inside of Marlins Park. If you've been there before, you'll notice the outside. You will no longer notice the inside.
Wow.
In its entirety. The only thing that's going to stay are the seats. The seats will remain blue. Everything else is gone. Everything else is gone. Every single concession stand, the fan experience will be completely different in its entirety. It's going to be cool. It's going to be fun.
Should be a lot of fun. Now, final question for you. Will those fans who turn out on opening day see JT Realmuto in a Marlins uniform?
I can't believe you would ask that question. I can't believe anybody would ask that. What is this about?
We've only been here for a day, and we've only heard his name like 87 times.
So I think the one thing that people need to keep in mind is that if the Marlins wanted to get rid of him at this point, they could have gotten rid of him.
Sure.
They could have taken something and said, all right, he's the last of an old group of guys that now went on to find success elsewhere in the last year. Take, for instance, at one point the Braves had interest. Maybe they still do. The asking price by the Marlins was some of your top players.
Right.
Understandably so. From the Marlins' perspective, they want some of the top players in the system. If the Braves say, well, we're not going to give you some of our top players, it's understandable because you want to hold on to those guys.
Sure.
So, in a sense, JT's got 2 years left to control. They're not going to give him away for peanuts, and nor should they. Now, the conflict there is another team's going to say, well, he's only got 2 years to control. We don't want to give up some of our top dogs. I think the Marlins will continue to hold. If we're being honest and you look at all the reports, it probably leads you to believe he might get dealt at some point.
Right.
Now, they don't have to.
Right.
He's still got 2 years of control. Somebody can get hurt in spring training. They can get a boatload for the guy.
Absolutely.
But with that being said, the Marlins asking price is high, rightfully so. It should be. Do I think he'll get traded? I'm not sure. If you look at everything you see, it would kind of indicate that it would be. He might end up somewhere, but I think the deal will be fair going both ways. I think a team's going to have to bite the bullet and give up probably some major league talent along with minor league talent, but on the reverse, somebody might get one of the best catchers in all of baseball.
Well, it's been a fun story to follow, and I'm sure we'll continue
Stay tuned.
Yeah, this could be a very fluid situation. We may have to redo this tomorrow if all this news changes. But Kyle Sielaff covers the Marlins for the Marlins Radio Network. Appreciate a few minutes of your time.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
the rest of your time in Vegas and stay away from those crap tables.
Yeah, stay out of trouble.